my crafty friends, it's the Big Book of Junk Journal Ideas Volume 2, and today we're doing our very first make, which is this wonderful little wallet that is filled with lots of fun bits that all flip out, lots of flipping going on, lots of pockets to store things, and little tags, and lots of little bits, and it's going to be a fun make. So come join me in the studio and let's make this fun, easy little folio wallet. I don't know what should I call it. You let me know. All right, let's get to crafting.
In a fun junk journal dream, DJ's crafting grungy scenes. Hither and yon, where friends all meet. Paper glue and vintage treats.
Okay, guys, let's get started. So you want a piece of paper that is 8.5 by 11 approximately. We're going to cut a piece that is 8 by 7 3/4. So you figure out kind of what you have. Mine always gets that border, so these are slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be cutting it down. So we want to cut it, and if it's directional, you want the top to be 8, and then you want your side to be 7 3/4. Okay, so I have my little trimmer here, and I'm first going to cut it here, and this is just a piece of heavyweight copy paper that I'm using. It's not cardstock, and I wouldn't recommend cardstock for this because it's going to make it too bulky. Yeah, no, that's it. All right, so 8, and then we're going to turn it and cut it at 7 3/4 inch. And I'm using my mixed media wildflower paper. It's, I think it's, I'll put a link to it down below. I don't remember the exact name. But anyway, we have that. I don't know why I'm putting this away because I still need it. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is on this 8-inch side, we're going to do some scoring. So this is my cutting tool. This is my scoring tool. I make sure my scoring tool is up. And I'm going to score it at 3/4. This first measurement isn't, it's not perfectly perfect. It doesn't have to be exact. But 3/4, but I know you guys want measurements. So 4 1/4. And then 7 3/4. Okay, so if you've gotten to this point and you ran out of paper, you're on the wrong side. So flip it the other way. You need to be on the 8-inch side. Okay, then we're going to give it a 1/4 turn. And we're going to, okay, so there's a couple of moves here. So I just want you to kind of see what I'm doing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to move the paper up to the 2.5 mark. Okay, or measure 2.5. And we are going to score. Okay, and then we're going to take our trimmer and we're going to bring it down to 3 3/4. And there's a little line in the center of your trimmer here, and that's what you want to kind of line up to 3 3/4, which right here is on my trimming tool. Okay, and then we're going to take our paper and we are going to move it up 1/8 of an inch on our ruler there. And then we are going to take our, no scoring this time, we're just going to take our trimmer and trim down to 3 3/4 again. Then we're going to move the edge of our paper up to 5 1/8. No scoring, we're going to trim down to 3 3/4. Then we are going to move our paper edge here up to 5 1/4. Make sure everything is kind of tight and against, because remember you cut here, so you just want to make sure everything is still aligned. And then you want to score and then cut down to 3 3/4. Okay, so what that gives you, move this out of the way, is you have your 8 by 7 3/4. You have a 3/4 inch score. You have the 4 1/4. So this space in here is 3 1/2. And then you have another score here at the edge, which is 1/4. So you have another space that's 3 1/2. Then we flipped it. We put our edge here up to 2 1/2. We scored and cut back to 3 1/4. We moved it 1/8 of an inch. We trimmed it down to 3 3/4. We moved our paper up to 5 1/8, and we cut it down to 3 3/4. We moved it up to 5 1/4, and then we scored and cut it down just to 3 3/4. Okay, and what that gives you are 3 pieces that are each 2 1/2 wide, and then you have these like little kind of pieces in between, and we're just going to cut them off. They're just spacers because of the way we're going to fold this. Okay, so you can just fold them back and cut them off. And you're left with this piece that now has these spaces. Okay, and now we're gonna fold everything on this fold here. Okay, so that's our 3/4 inch fold, and you want to make sure your folds are nice and crisp. And then we're going to fold it back the other way. Okay, and then we have this 4 1/4 inch fold right here. So each of these you can just kind of fold over. Okay, and then you have this little edge here that you want to kind of fold back. Okay, now just open it up and you should have 2 more scores, one at the top here. And then one at the bottom. And if you're lost at this point, go back to the beginning and start again. You can watch it as many times as you want because it's recorded. Okay, and so what you should be able to do is fold these over with their little edge folded in. And this should go over the top of it like that. And now what we want to do is just make sure all of this is down really well. And then we're going to just take this up from the bottom. And then we're just going to make all these folds really tight. And then we're going to take this one and fold it down from the top. And you know, your paper gets kind of jammed and wonky. So we're just going to take our bone folder or whatever tool you're using and just make these all really crisp. Okay, and that is the base of our wallet. And now we're just going to build out some of the rest of the flaps here. So go ahead and get yourself some scraps that are at least 2.5 by 3.5. I have a bunch of scraps here. So again, these are all that copy weight. And I'm going to cut 2 that are 2.5 wide by just under 3.5 wide. And that's because we're going to glue it here to this edge. And when we fold it in, we don't want it to kind of catch there if we are folding it that way. We can fold it the other way as well. So if you want to start with a 2.5 by 3.5 inch piece and see how you feel about it, that's fine too. So let's see what this one measures. All right, so this is just under 2.5. So, and this is a good way to use up some of those extra scraps you have. By 3.5, and I'm just going to back it off a tiny bit. And then we'll do another one. I have more of this. I'm going to use it. So, 2.5. Let me do the 3.5 first. I have a reason why. The 3.5 is going to be the long way, yeah, okay. And then, oh, it doesn't matter. By 2.5. And it's all good. 2.5. Okay, so this one's going to go this way. All right, so what I've done is I've created the pieces we're going to attach here. You can do a third one. So just under 3.5. Yeah, so I wanted to try to get another piece out of this, but I'm not going to. So we'll just put this over here because we'll still use those scraps. All right, so I got 3 here. And then I want a piece that is just under 3.5. I want it to fit in here and kind of fold down. So we're going to do another one that's 2.5 by 3.5. But I think I'm going to just try to make it a little thinner than 3.5 again. So this has to be 2.5 wide. Or high, tall, by under 3.5. Just under. And okay, so now I want to do a piece here that I'm going to kind of flip down. So I want it to be a little under 3.5 wide, but then I want it, instead of 2.5, I'm going to make it 2 3/4. Then I have a little piece, or maybe it's 2.5. Maybe I'll make it 3. I just need a piece that I can kind of fold like this. So let's see. What are you? No. What are you? Yeah, so see how this is just slightly over 2.5? That's fine. I'm just going to leave it like it is. And then I'm going to go just under 3.5. Okay, and then I'm going to line this up to 2.5. And I'm going to score. Let me score the top, rather. Doesn't matter, because if your paper is not directional, it doesn't matter as much. But here's what I mean. So this little flap that I made is going to attach and kind of flip down. Oops, let's not ruin what we're doing. So it's going to kind of attach here or underneath. It doesn't matter. You could do either or. And then this piece will flip up, and then I'll have one of these flaps that will flip in or back. All right, so let's attach them so it makes more sense. Before I do that, let me add a little ink. I'm just going to ink up this whole thing, and I'm going to ink up all these extra pieces, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're all inked, and now we're going to glue. So you figure out what side, you want where and how you're positioning. Basically, this is my left side and this is my right side. So I'm just going to glue this onto here. So these are those 2.5 by just under 3.5 pieces. And you can see that you can configure this a couple of different ways if you wanted to. Like this one on the bottom where we're doing the flip, you could eliminate one coming off this side if you want. Just cut that little flap off if you wanted. When I glue this to the flap, I just want to make sure that everything is aligned this way and that nothing is kind of crooked, because when you fold it in, you want everything to kind of sit nicely, okay? So there's our little tab. Now, if you get this glued in and you see that when you're folding this, this is jamming up. You see how it's doing that and it's making it buckle? You can just come in here and shave a hair off of here. That's it. Problem solved. Just ink it back up a little. Okay. Now you can also just fold it in a way so that that's not an issue. You just go back and forward. And then when we close this up, that's no longer an issue. This one, I'm going to fold down in here. And there's this flap here. So let me do that first. It's just, I'm going to put this on here first, just so I know how to align the other piece. Okay, and now I know that this piece has to fit in here. It looks like it's a little over, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to come and trim it a tad bit. So the first one that I made of these, I didn't really use measurements, but I know you guys like measurements, so I give you measurements. But you can make this without having measurements, just using the scraps that you have. It doesn't have to match specifically to these measurements. I just measured it so that when you guys made one, you could follow along, especially if you're a beginner. I know you beginners like to have all the measurements so that it's not intimidating. I get it. But if you have a piece and you can just kind of finagle it to fold itself 3 ways, and then fold it out this way any way you want, go ahead and do that. It's your make. You can do whatever you want with it. All right, I'm going to glue this one down. Like so, but you could glue it from underneath also. It's going to be a little flip up. Okay, and that's our base. So it'll all just kind of fold up and then like that. Okay, and that's why we kind of, oh, I didn't fold this over, that's why. That's why in the beginning we kind of went in, and you probably want to do this throughout this process just to make sure everything's kind of still folding the way that you want it to. All right. And now the fun part, we just get to kind of decorate. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to put some pockets in here, some side tucks, some little belly bands. But you can put them any way you want and make them fit the way that you want it to look. You don't have to do it the way that I do it. I'm going to give you measurements just so you can have it. But you don't have to do it this way. So I think I'm going to go with like about a 2, maybe a 1.5 inch wide strip, not wide, tall. So that's like 1.5 inches. And then remember, this is just under 3.5. So I'm going to try that and see how that fits in there. It's a little tight, so I'm just going to take a hair off. And this is going to be a pocket, obviously. Maybe it wasn't obvious, I don't know. So I'm just going to put a little notch in there. And This is why it's good to work with copyweight paper for something like this, because as you add layers, you're bulking it up. And since it's all going to fold up onto itself, you want to kind of keep it fairly thin. So that's why I think copyweight paper works really good here. The other thing I can do is get some contrasting paper. Hold on. I always have tons of scraps. So I have some of this, some of these. And then I have some bigger ones, not that. So go to your scrap pile and just pull out some stuff that will match. Okay, I have that. I have some of these graph paper ones. This with some writing on it. You know, we're thinking in the 2.5 to 3.5 inch size range, and I'm looking for, you know, the thinner paper. All right, I think that's enough. You don't want to go crazy, and you guys are probably going to find your own way anyway, right? So this is just to kind of give you an idea. So again, this was 1.5 inches high, but you could make it 2 or 3. Actually, let's go a little higher. Let's go to 2. And I can probably get a couple out of this. So I'm going to go maybe even less. I'm going to probably do like almost 3 and what is that? 1, 2, 3/8. Twice. Thereabouts. So that's a nice contrast. And then since they're copyweight, I'm going to hold them together and punch them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch them closer to one side and then just flip one over. Maybe I'll flip this one over. Okay, so now we get a little contrast going on. Now we'll actually see our pocket. Pockets. And I'm using Vintage Photo for anyone new. It's my go-to. And so I'm just going to glue this, and I'm using just a wet glue. I'm using my art glitter glue mix. And we're going to put a pocket here. And then I'm going to put another one up top here. And then it'll be fun to use one of the even smaller strips to maybe do another pocket on top of that. But we don't want to get too bulky. So just be aware of that. And we'll kind of check as we add stuff to make sure we're not getting too bulky and it's not going to close on us. So this is a great way to take a little bit of space and really go to town with it. So that would be fun, right? Right there. I want to get the whole word. And see, now we're getting into where you're not really measuring, but I think this is about 1/2 inch. Oh, that's centimeters. Yeah, I don't know. It's like 5/8. And then I'm just going to kind of do that. You get to fill it up with all the goodies. You know, and you can make these to kind of match your theme, or you can make them really plain. This is going to be another pocket. It's going to be a tiny pocket, but it's going to be, well, maybe more of a tuck. You can make them pretty plain Jane, And then, why is Jane plain? I know a lot of exciting Janes. Anyway, and then you can dress them up when you get them into your journal. So you can have a stash ready if you make journals to sell or give away. All right, so we got a pocket there, a pocket there, a pocket there. We have this. I can make another little pocket like right here. So I'll cut it and then I'll give you an approximate measurement. So I just fit it in that space. Mine is like 1 1/4 by, I don't know, 1 5/8 tall. And it's really thin paper, so I don't know that it's going to go through any of my punches. So I'm just going to kind of make a notch to indicate that it's a pocket. It's not very straight, is it? It looks more rustic. It's more junky. And good for little bits like tickets and stuff. I'm going to stay close to the edge to maximize our space in this little pocket. There we go. All right. And then what else did I take out? Oh, I have this. So let's do a tall pocket and then we can get most of this in it. So I'm going to cut this down again under the 3 1/2 a bit. And then I think I'm going to go up really high here. So that is about 2 inches, no, 2 1/4 inches. So just under 3 1/2 by 2 1/4-ish. I work in ish. And then when you want to punch something thin, back it with something thick or another piece. So let's figure out, maybe we'll put a pocket here. So, how about we do a side tuck here? This way I can still see some of that flower. So this is 2 1/2 inches tall, about. It's probably got a little more because these are 2 1/2 and we had those little slits. So it's probably more like 2 3/4 here. But I'm just going to take my trusty pencil and, oh look, a little cute design. Maybe I can get that in there. I'm just going to mark where I want to cut it. So, yeah, this one is a little over 2 1/2 in how tall it is, which is the height of that area. And I'm just going to cut this off here, just so I can get more of that, whatever that design is I have there. Looks like I was testing a stencil. Yeah, so I'll cut it off around here, which is about 2. All right, now if I take this one, and this is going to be a side tuck, so I'm going to punch it on the side here. I'm going to line them up together and just punch it through. There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I hope you guys enjoy this very first make for our big book of Junk Journal Ideas Volume 2. We got a lot to go, but I figured I'd start it off with a bang and then get a little more less complex as we go. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there'll be some more interesting bits. Okay, so that's going to go there. And then this one, I think I'll put over here. Yep. But as you can see, and like I said, you can kind of go crazy and make this all different ways. Any way that you like. And then remember, we got the whole other side, so hang on to your seats, campers. All right. We can take a little vellum and put it over this and make some writing space. I love that little trick, and I'm going to tear it. Vellum is very easy to tear. And you could also cut it. I don't like these sharp corners. And I can put that there. I don't lose my design, but you can write on this. You could also write on that, but this kind of gives you a little more of a backdrop. So you can use double-sided tape. I just use a very light glue, and because I'm putting it over a busy background, I'm not that worried about it. See? You're not even going to notice the glue, but it gives you some space to kind of write on. Is very easy to write on. All right, so we got to tuck there. And then I like that dragonfly, so maybe we'll do a little tuck this way. And of course, oh, I have something on this side. Where can I put you? Oh, I can put you down here. Let's do that. So I just flipped it over and it was a little more contrast. So we'll pull out some ephemera and add it too. A lot of space for a little wallet type thing. Okay, and speaking of that, let me just fold it up and see that it's not getting too bulky. No, I think we're good for now. We can still add a few more things. So I'm going to flip it over this way. And maybe, you know what I'll do is I think, you see how these tabs are here? I think I'll cut some pages to just stick on there that are good for writing. And then they'll cover up those tabs too. From grungy paper. And then all right. So I just measured the height of each of them. And we'll just glue them in place. I don't need a lot of glue, but I want to make sure the corners go down well. Corners and the edges. So now it's like a little more of a writing area. And we'll stamp on there. I think that'd be nice. Little stamps. Kind of dress it up. This way we're not adding a lot of bulk, but... And these are copy weight pieces of paper here. Or like how I can, like, they align. Okay, and then back here I think we can add maybe just a few more pockets. So, remember, whatever you make a pocket, you have to make something to go in it, so you're adding bulk twice. Yeah, we'll just cut this in half. So, use up the scraps you have. It's a great little scrap busting project. And to use those little bits of ephemera you never know what to do with. This one's kind of torn. Actually, maybe I'll leave it like that. I'll do this side. Yeah, I'm not gonna punch this one. I don't know why, because I decided no. I decided because I don't have anything to punch it with, because this one I'm just gonna leave as it is. And we can add a little stitching if you want. You can kind of get in there and make it your own. I would love to add some stitching. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pockets. Lots of writing space and just some pretty stuff to look at. And I haven't talked about how I'm going to close this up. And yeah, maybe putting that pocket there wasn't the best idea. Hold on. So let's look at that. This should probably not be a pocket. Pull that up and just re-ink over there. Because this is going to be my cover. So didn't think it through. It's okay. Extra grungy now. So we'll just move you over here. Okay, so when you flip it over, this one here is going to be the top fold down. So I wouldn't put anything on there except maybe a piece of decoration. Okay, so the piece to keep it closed is real simple. I'm just going to do a slide over piece that's 1 inch by 6 inch. And I thought I had one cut. Now I can't find it, so we'll make another one. All right, what do I got here? I got a little of this. So I'm just going to go 1 inch, which is just a number I picked. You could do thicker than 1 inch, you'll see. but 6 I found seems to wrap around it nicely and give you a little playroom. Let me ink it and then I'll show you. It just wraps around and glues. Okay, so when this is closed, you want to take this and kind of wrap it around and line it up. And I would do this after everything is filled inside, so I'm just going to leave myself some room for that. Okay, and then you just put a little dab of glue and glue that down. And you just put a little piece of decor over that, and then it just slides off like so. Okay, so, and you could put a word on there too instead of, you could also probably do one this way if you wanted to, and that one would measure, a nice thick one. Let's see, I'm going to probably go to about there. So that would measure about 8 inches. Okay, so if you want to go the other way, make it whatever width you want to make it, and then if you do it about 8 inches and glue it, you'll wrap around there. Okay, and that would be a nice option too, and then you'd have a big space here where you could put a big word. But I'm going to stick to the one here because I want to do a little decorating with you guys, and that's how it stays closed. So this flap is really just to make sure everything stays tucked in. So as you're wrapping it, if you didn't, if you wanted to and you didn't put a pocket or anything here, you could put some Velcro dots here to attach this to this, and then it would kind of just, you know, undo. Or you could put some magnets here, like put a strip over here and a magnet underneath and a magnet here, and then just magnetize them closed. But I mean, this is kind of easy, and I like how simplistic it is. So let's do a little decorating. I have all this Tim Holtz ephemera, so we're going to use it up. I got to use it. It's all little bits and just some stuff I've thrown in here as I'm working. And so I'm just going to grab some things. And depending on what you leave, you know, it could be a cute little tuck. Available, you can have a lot of writing space in this, probably more than you know, you would on a normal page that you add some decorations to. So this would be a little tuck, and then I can put something in there. I think a little ticket. Actually, I think I want the ticket to go in there. How cute is that? Okay, we're going to do that. So little things give you a chance to use up your little ephemera. So if you don't want to watch the decorating, you can jump to the end and see the final outcome. But I'm going to continue to decorate here with you guys. You want stuff that's flat, so I wouldn't use like big pieces of lace. I mean, maybe you can get away with 1 or 2, but I wouldn't go crazy by any means. Let me get a couple stamps. Okay, I just have a variety of little things. No guy there. And then I got a little bee. I'm gonna get my other ink pad. my archival coffee. This one's a little juicier. There we go. And so stamping gives you that decor without the bulk, right? Let's see, what do we got over here? Okay, I'm going to use this little forest stamp. Where did I get this? Somebody's going to ask. I'm going to go AliExpress or Temu. It could have been a Michael's Dollar Bin, though, too. Oop, I went a little over, but that's okay. So this is going into one of my woodland journals, but you can make the theme anything you want. I need something for in here. So, let's see. Well, that'll work. So, just a little label that I'm going to use as a tag or a journaling card. If it's nice, I think I'll just put a little piece of washi over it. Kind of like that. You can add some more decor to it, obviously. Let's see, what else do I have out? I have some of these. Stampers Anonymous. So this is Field Notes CMS 396. And I have, like, this one has these little, like, Field Notes type drawings. Go figure. Just grabbing a couple of these. Like that. And maybe over here we'll do this little birdie. That. Right. Oh, we need something to go in here. I think I was looking for that, and then I got distracted. Go figure. Book covers. All right, I'm going to pull out more Tim, because I have little bits, but use your scraps. Use what you have. I thought these would be maybe, let's see. I do have to add something over there, I know. I guess they're too big. Could cut it down. That's all right. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, that'll fit there. I want to make a couple of taller journaling cards from my scraps. But let me just grab a couple more pieces of ephemera here. Maybe we'll add a little butterfly. That. You can really kind of go crazy, right? It's so fun. Yeah, let's see. What do I have here? I have this. It's a little heavier weight. I'm going to chance it. I'm just going to cut a journaling card or two to fit these spaces. I have to account for the fact that I've glued my pockets, right? So maybe about that size. Okay, and I want to put a little tab on the top of this, so and only do it about that big. And I'm going to round my corners. And nothing grungy. These are from my grungy paint video. If I think about it, I'll put a card up here somewhere. So this is going to go in here, but I want to put a little tab on it. So I have these pre-cut little, sort of like a whale tail, but it's my own design. I just did, it was a circle, like an oval. And you know the brackets that you use for when you're typing in brackets? I used them and used Illustrator to cut them out. So I've had this design for a really long time, and I use it all the time. And what I do is I cut them out on my Silhouette or my Cricut, whatever's out. And I can make a whole bunch of them at once, like this, in different sizes, and just have a ton of them in any paper that I want. So I always have a bunch of these, and I don't need a punch or a die in different sizes. I can just make as many as I want. And I am now offering this file in my shop at hitherandjanstudio.com. And what I give you is the PNG and the SVG file of this particular tab. And then I also give you a bonus, which is a full sheet that you can upload into your Silhouette or Cricut machine, and it's got graduated sizes of these tabs. And this one I made out of black cardstock, so I cut a bunch, but I also cut these out of like a white a tan cardstock. So if you want to go check that out, it's over in the shop, and I'll try to remember to link it below. But then you have a ton of these little tabbies, and you don't need a tab punch, and you don't need a die cut. You just need a Cricut or a Silhouette machine. And if you already have one, well, there you go. Okay, so that's going to go there. And then I need one for here. So we'll go there, because I want to put a tab on this one too. I think the tabs make them so cute. Okay. And I saw a little mushroom in there. I might glue that on here. Let's use, I got bigger ones, just slightly bigger. So again, this is that graduated sizes bonus page that I give you. And that one, you can just upload it right in, and it's ready to go. All right, so let me ink this. Maybe we'll stamp something cute on it. I'm looking. I have butterflies. I have a little leaf. I have another little bee. Let's see what'll fit. Let's try the little bumblebee. I think he'll fit. I need something to stamp on. And if I mess it up, I can just turn the tab over. Nobody will ever know. There you go. You can sort of see him. Hello, Mr. B. You know why? Because I'm using this pad. It's okay. We're going with it. Where did I put my card? Oh, I left it in there. Okay, so I'm just lining my tab up with that punch that I did. At least I have an idea of where it lays. And I can pull this out and kind of make it work. And then I saw a mushroom or something. What is this? Oh, it's like a little flower. I did see a mushroom though. Where are you? There you are. As I throw things all over the place. Maybe we can do something like this. Put it on this side. It's like a little field notes label. I think this will be perfect for my woodland journals. Just kind of so you can get into the details because the rest of it is super easy. That's going to be tight. I might have to take some off the bottom. It depends on how you fold it, right? So the problem is when I fold it, that's when it could be a problem. I might be okay here, so I'm going to leave it for now, but if I had to, I could just trim some off the bottom. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go and fill up the rest of this. There's not much. And then I'll jump back in and I'll show you the final outcome. And then you can go make one of your own if you haven't already left. All right, I'll see you in a minute. All right, guys, so she's all done. And I decided to put a little owl as an accent on mine since it is going to go in my woodland journal. But you could add anything. And then we flip. I also put a little happy moments. A little mushroom here. I added a little ladybug card. I put a dragonfly and his wings are still free. I like doing that with my my butterflies and dragonflies. I put him in here. Another ladybug is in here, and you guys saw me do the tag. Up here, I just added these little bits because it's just like a cute little tuck there. Okay. Oh, I decided to glue this down, and then I put another label there. So it was like a field label. Can I do anything else over here? No, you saw the rest. So that is it, our very first make. And then once you fold it all up, it gets really tiny. And you just get out your journal. This is our first entry in this volume 2. And you find a little pocket. And then you can tuck it right into a pocket. You can also, kind of paper clip it to the top. But I'm going to put it in this pocket. I'm going to put in my measurements here, which will be down in the description box below. And then I just wanted to show you another one I kind of freestyled. And like I said, you can just kind of make these a lot of different ways and make them your own so that they're all different. So this one kind of flipped down this way. These measurements, I didn't measure. I just kind of took my paper and folded it in thirds. And this has like a belly band or like a little pocket here and then a tuck on this side. It's got another card up here. Here I put a piece of my handmade paper. So, and then this is vellum to write on. I had just like a little piece of paper, so I kind of glued that on for a little pocket. There's another pocket here. Just some other ideas for you guys so that you can, you know, kind of have your own ideas book. I hope you are making one. If you are, please let me know and leave me a comment. All right, I don't know why you're going to go back in there and fight with me. Not going to go. Yeah, leave me a comment and let me know if you're making your own big book of junk journal ideas or just where you're watching from, how you found me. And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And I hope I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.